everyone, welcome to my video. My name is Grace and today I want to talk about a book that I have read very recently and that I really loved, and that is the debut novel by Kat Dunn, Dangerous Remedy. Now this book is very beautiful. The cover is gorgeous, can I just say, out of the gate. But this book is set in France during the French Revolution and follows a group of people trying to break others out of jail. So before we get started, this will be very much spoilers. There'll be a lot of spoilers in this book review, so if you haven't read the book yet and you would have liked to avoid spoilers, please go read the book and then come back. If you're not worried about spoilers, just keep watching, and here we go. Alright, boy, was this book was so much fun. Holy moly, I loved this book from beginning to end. It had a very strong Six of Crows kind of vibe, but it's French, obviously. Oh my goodness, the characters were incredible in this book. Al is my favorite, obviously. He's snarky, sarcastic. He has so much fun banter between the other characters. He's overall just hilarious and also troubled in his own way, but he's got a lot going for him, and I really love seeing Al in this book. The thing I want to talk about just quickly is I loved that there was a girl-girl romance in this book. There's also a male-male romance mentioned, but it's not the main romance of the story. It's a female-female romance between two best friends, and there's also a fiance who comes in halfway through the book and shakes up the drama a little bit. I love drama. I was so here for the drama, and it did happen. Oh boy, it blew up. Interesting twist towards the end, but I loved that there was a bit of drama going on, and I had a chaotic bisexual main character, obviously, and had a lot of issues going on between the two, and also a lot of like lies and deception on both sides of the relationship, and like a lot of stuff going on, and also that was a main part as much as the mystery was. So all in all, that was so much fun. There was also a lot of good foils in this book, a lot of like opposite sides of the spectrum in terms of friendship and personality inside the friendship group itself. Especially loved Gil and Al, because Al is such like a sassy, sarcastic kind of person, and Gil is such like a wise and pragmatic person. So to see those two like be foils of each other and go head to head in arguments and like have their own banter between the two is so funny, and it worked very well. So it kind of reminded me of Kaz and Jasper from Six of Crows. It had that kind of vibe, and I found it hilarious to read. I really loved Olympe in this book. There were a lot of twists and turns, but this is a new character that gets introduced. She has been abused as a child, unfortunately, by some scientists, and she is the product of a scientific experiment in the womb when she was before she was born, which allows her to conduct electricity from her body. I found that really cool, and to have something like a scientific endeavor being brought into like post-industrial revolution France is so interesting. Pre-industrial revolution France is such an interesting thing, and to have like both sides of the revolution, both third parties who are unrelated, and the revolutionary people and the royalists, as well as people from other countries, come in and try and take over possession of Olympe to use for their own personal gain, is such an interesting concept, and I found that really fun to learn about. Olympe is gorgeous and so precious as a child. She is so sweet and innocent, and I loved reading about her and her relationship with Camille, the main protagonist of the story, and seeing her like go from not really caring about her to finding out she's like a little sister to her now and trying to protect her as much as possible. A lot of dark themes in this book, as you would expect from being set in the French Revolution. There is a lot of death and political issues going on during that time period, so we get to see a little bit of that in this book, to the point where one of the characters' families are sentenced to death and they have to watch them get executed. That is so horrific and horrible. I felt so bad throughout that scene, and I really wanted to cry for that character. It shows a lot of mental fortitude to be so strong, but also to reflect the brutality of that time period is masterful in this book. It's not too heavy, but it is a very dark themes for a YA. So be aware. It was good. I like seeing dark themes in my books, so I thought it didn't really bother me. I thought it was really good touch and really slowed down the action, brings forth a lot of the humanity of the characters back to the surface for a while. So that, especially before going into a conflict with other characters where morality is a big factor. So I thought that was kind of a cool like heads up and foreshadowing. It was a good plan in this book. I won't spoil what the plan was, but it was a really cool, like, you think something bad's happened and one of the characters has passed away, and then we find out that was not the case, and they planned for that the whole time. It was a really cool fake out, and done for shock value, but it was really well done and executed well. Always, like, the plans in this book are really elaborate, but also like really fun and believable that I could pull it off in some absurd way. So I really admired them, all the characters, for getting out of difficult scraps with what they have and using their own resourcefulness to find a way out of the problem. And I thought it was really cool to see all of them work together and provide their own strengths to the group as a whole. I'm going to spoil this, but there is a character called James. He is Camille's fiance, come from England he was supposed to marry Camille, who is French, but they had a bit of a falling out and she ran away. And then we find out that he is betraying the whole group to kidnap Olympe, who's the girl with the lightning powers, to give to England so they can progress their technology forward to better over France. I thought that was very interesting. I wasn't expecting it, but I thought he was up to something dodgy. For him to just appear very conveniently during the time that they rescued Olympe. But I thought it was really funny and an interesting touch to have a betrayal and a reason for the two girls to get back together, but also for them to chase the setting out of France and move it to England. I thought it was a cool setup for the sequel, so I thought that was a great ending and cliffhanger. I'm also worried that Camille has some sort of obstructive or respiratory disease. I'm not sure if it's asthma or emphysema or something like that, but it sounds like it could pose a problem later on in the series. She does have a couple moments where she's spitting out blood, so I'm worried it's tuberculosis or something related, and I'm really hoping she gets help or a doctor in England that she can see about it. But overall, it was a good touch to have a character with a flaw like that. The book, basically, the characters split up, which I thought was interesting. We have a conflict between Camille and Al, who go to England to stop James, and then we have Ada and Gil stay behind to spy on her dad and get information about what's going on with Olympe and stuff, and to get messages to Camille and the others overseas. So I thought it was interesting. We're going to see a bit of a progression between the two characters and interactions between the two. We have Al, who's very sassy, and Camille, who's very down to earth, which I think will be an interesting interactions a lot of the time. And we also have Ada, who's very practical but also very intelligent, and we have Gil, who's a little more feminine than Camille, and we have Gil, who's very pragmatic, very wise, but also very quiet in nature. So I would like to see the two pairs working together to bring down James and to save Olympe from him. So overall, I thought this was a 4 out of 5. I rated that on Goodreads. I thought it was a great book, a great first book in a series for sure. The action scenes were great. They were well written. The descriptive writing was great. The heists were so much fun to read. They were just ridiculous enough that it was funny and not so outrageous that they couldn't be possible to pull off. The romances were complicated enough to be realistic. The French Revolution setting was really cool and it was intriguing to read about. The world building was fantastic. The only drawback for me was that it was hard because I'm an English speaker, native English speaker. It was a little hard for me to determine what the place names were in French and like where in the city they were heading at different times. So it took me a second to get my bearings on it. But other than that, I really, really loved it. And if you like something like Six of Crows, The Diviners, or possibly... if you like something like Six of Crows, The Diviners, or the Gilded Wolves series, please check this one out. This is a really fun read. So thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please subscribe to my channel. I post regularly, so you'll see updates from me quite often. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!